Hey everyone, I'm Ken Goshen, and this is Intro to Charcoal Drawing, Episode 4. In this episode, I'll be surveying the 3 charcoal techniques you can incorporate into your finished artworks. No matter the style of art you make, I'm sure you'll find charcoal has something fun to offer you. Let's do this. The first and most intuitive one is the technique of charcoal on white paper. When using charcoal on white paper, you'll be able to express a wide range of values, from the deepest charcoal darks to the brightest industrial white. This wide value range makes it possible to create both striking realism and evocative abstraction. There's no better dry media option for capturing the true feeling of light. It's also a wonderfully flexible and direct medium. It allows you to achieve deep darks with impressive speed and immediacy. The harder you press, the darker it gets. If you prefer, you can also use layering and let powder accumulate gradually. Try both ways and see what works best for you. Also, due to its softness and shape, it offers a wonderfully fluid application that's almost calligraphic. When working with this technique, I suggest working on a paper with a tooth and make use of the stump, as we discussed in the second episode of the series. This will guarantee the widest value range and the most polished finish. If you're willing to sacrifice your value range for speed, feel free to choose a smooth paper instead. Another great technique for incorporating charcoal in finished artworks is a dry media mix. Charcoal mixes beautifully with chalks, pastel, sanguine, and even graphite. By mixing charcoal with other dry media, you'll be able to create pieces with calligraphic, sensitive line work, a wide range of values, and even color. The biggest benefit charcoal offers when used in combination with other dry media is how erasable it is. This makes charcoal the most attractive medium with which to start the piece, because it allows you to play around with the shapes and the proportions until you're satisfied, and only then start adding the more permanent dry media on top. When working with a dry media mix, I recommend using a toned paper. My favorites are toned tan and toned gray, made by my friends here at Strathmore and available at an art store near you. Toned paper really makes the colors pop and allows you to have much more control over your mixing, since you can use white chalk as an active element instead of relying on the white of the paper. Additionally, working on toned paper with charcoal and white chalk is one of the fastest and most effective techniques for capturing structure, even without color. This is because the paper acts as a middle value, which allows you to focus only on the darkest darks and the lightest lights. No need to spend so much time on shading. Because of the speed and effectiveness of the dry media mix technique, it's my personal favorite method for drawing on the go. With this technique, you can either use a toothy or a smooth paper. Toothy for depth, or smooth for speed, erasability, and easier mixing. Smooth is my personal choice, but give it a try and see what works best for you. The third way to incorporate charcoal in finished pieces is to use it as a foundation for painting. I'm a huge fan of designing my painting compositions with charcoal directly on the painting surface before I paint. This allows me to capture the proportions and the layout at my own pace, and whenever a mistake is made, it is almost unbelievably easy to erase. You thought charcoal erases easily from paper? Just wait until you try it on canvas or wood. One sweep of the 𝗙𝗵 and any charcoal mark disappears without a trace. And here comes the question. But Ken, why not just start your design directly with paint, like an underpainting? Aha, I'm glad you asked. Of course, that's possible too, but there are 2 reasons why charcoal is my personal favorite medium for laying the groundwork. First, because it's dry, and second, because it doesn't dry. I'll explain. When starting directly with paint, it's possible to erase or modify marks by using a solvent, but after too much solvent usage, the surface can become saturated with liquid, which makes precision very difficult. With charcoal, you can erase as many times as you want without compromising the surface. Also, paint dries, which means that when you start directly with paint, you have a limited time to finish your layout before the layer is no longer workable. Not so with charcoal. Charcoal allows for infinite time to continue adjusting and refining. I once worked on a layout charcoal drawing for a week before starting to paint, and I was able to keep adjusting all the way through. Once your layout is satisfactory, you can choose to use fixative to permanently adhere it to the surface and prevent the paintbrush from sweeping the powder away, or you can let the drawing gradually disappear as your brush runs across it. I personally love both options, and I alternate from project to project. Also, when I do use fixative, I sometimes leave the charcoal marks visible in the final painting, which is a really fun effect. And why not just use pencil, you ask? Great question. Pencils are far harder and slower to erase from painting surfaces, and the aggressive erasing action needed to manipulate graphite can leave an oily residue on the painting surface that can pollute your paint. Also, pencil marks themselves can pollute your paint and negatively impact your colors, while charcoal blends beautifully and unobtrusively into paint in a very pleasant way. I hope you enjoyed the 4th episode of Intro to Charcoal Drawing. I think we are all ready to get our hands dirty and start making some awesome charcoal artwork. If you enjoyed this series, make sure to follow me at Ken Goshen and Strathmore at Strathmore Art on Instagram. And of course, please subscribe to our YouTube channels and share this series with all your artsy friends and family. Thanks for joining me, and see you next time.